Hello, everyone. Have you ever felt like your life was falling apart and nobody even noticed? You walk around smiling, but deep down, something inside you is shattered. You help everyone, but when you're the one hurting, no one is there. You scream in silence, you break behind closed doors, and somehow, you still show up. But now, you're tired. Tired of pretending, tired of holding it all in, tired of being strong. And I get it. I made this video for you, not to motivate you like others do, but to give you the fire that will bring you back to life. Because you're not weak. You're not lazy. You're not broken beyond repair. You're in the middle of a transformation. So don't give up. Don't stay where they left you. Don't let this be your ending. This video will give you 10 brutal steps. Not soft words, not fake hope, but real power, real mindset, real healing. Watch till the end, because if you do, your comeback begins today. As you watch, you'll not only feel stronger inside, but your English will grow with every word. So listen carefully, and let's change everything. Step 1. Stop explaining your pain to people who don't care. When you're broken, the first thing you want is for someone to understand. You want to explain yourself. You want someone to see how heavy your heart feels. But here's the harsh truth. Most people don't care. They listen for 5 seconds, then scroll. They nod while secretly judging you. Or worse, they use your pain against you later. Every time you explain your pain to someone who doesn't care, you lose a little more of yourself. You don't need validation. You don't need pity. You need your power back. The world doesn't need to understand you. You need to understand you. Let me tell you a story that changed millions of lives. A girl once went to her father crying, "I give up. Life is too hard. I'm tired of fighting." The father said nothing. He placed 3 pots on the stove. In one, he put a potato. In the second, an egg. In the third, coffee beans. He boiled them in water. 20 minutes later, he said, "Look closely." The potato was strong, but the water made it soft and weak. The egg was fragile inside, but the boiling made it hard. But the coffee beans, they changed the water itself. Then he looked into her eyes and said, "When life gets hard, you have 3 choices. Become weak like the potato. Become cold and hardened like the egg. Or be like the coffee bean and turn the pain into power. Stop wasting your energy trying to explain your boiling water. Instead, change what the water means to you. People will always misunderstand you. Let them. You weren't made to be understood. You were made to become undeniable. From today, don't explain your pain. Use it, build from it, rise with it, and come back so strong, so focused, so powerful that they'll never ask again what you went through, because your success will say everything. Step 2. Accept that no one is coming to save you. There comes a time in your life when you finally understand something that changes you forever, something that breaks you first. But if you accept it, it wakes you up like nothing else ever has. That truth is this: no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to fix what they broke. No one is coming to wipe your tears at 2 a.m. No one is coming to motivate you every morning. No one is coming to force you to stop wasting your life. That's your job now. It hurts, doesn't it? Because we all grow up thinking that if we fall hard enough, someone will catch us. That someone will notice. Someone will care. Someone will show up with love, with help, with answers. But here you are, still broken, still waiting, and the phone is silent. The door didn't open, and no one came. Now read this carefully, because this is the turning point of your entire life. Let me tell you a story. Not a sweet one, not a soft one, but a real one. A story that reflects millions of people who are alive, but already dead inside. There was a man who got stuck deep in a canyon, a place surrounded by sharp rocks, steep walls, and silence. He fell while hiking, broke his leg, and couldn't move. At first, he believed someone would come. He screamed. He waited. He hoped. He had water. He had some food. He told himself, "They'll find me. Someone will rescue me." A few hours passed, then a day, then two. Still no one. By day 3, he was weaker. His hope was still there, but now it felt like a lie. By day 5, his mind started breaking. He couldn't believe it. All the people he helped in life, all the friends he once had, not one of them came. He had a choice. He could drag himself inch by inch toward a narrow slope he could try to climb, or he could lay there and wait for the rope that never came. He waited. He died, waiting. And on the 8th day, a rescue team found him. Dead, only 20 feet from the path where someone might have seen him, if he had dragged himself a little further. Do you understand now? He had a broken leg, but he still had working arms. He still had breath. He still had options. But he chose to wait instead of fight. And that's what most people are doing in their real lives right now. You're stuck in your own version of a canyon. Maybe it's heartbreak, failure, depression, betrayal, regret. And you're lying there, hoping for someone to come. But every second you wait is killing you, because no one is coming. When you accept that no one is coming to save you, something incredible happens. You stop waiting. You stop hoping someone will understand you. You stop blaming the world. You stop needing permission to move. And you begin to move. Maybe slowly. Maybe in pain. Maybe with tears in your eyes. But you move. And that's where the comeback begins. People think strength is found in muscles or shouting motivational quotes. But real strength? It's when you pick yourself up on a day when even your soul feels tired. It's when you feed yourself when your appetite is gone. It's when you wake up at 6 a.m. because you promised yourself you'd change, even when your body begs you to sleep. It's when you delete the app, end the toxic relationship, start over. And no one claps for you. No one thanks you, but you do it anyway. That's the moment you stop surviving and start rising. The world doesn't reward victims. It rewards warriors. You can cry for help, or you can build yourself. You can beg people to stay, or you can walk away and never look back. You can keep telling the story of how they hurt you, or you can write a new one about how they couldn't destroy you. The world will never stop for your pain. But you can stop letting pain be your prison. You have 2 choices. 1. Keep laying in your canyon, hoping they'll return. 2. Or drag yourself inch by inch to your own rescue and become the story that inspires the next broken soul. When you finally stop waiting, the journey begins. It will be hard. No one will cheer for you. You'll fall again. You'll feel lonely. You'll want to quit. But each day you fight. Your body, your mind, your heart will rebuild something. Not the old you. That version is gone. You're building someone newer, someone unshakable, someone who doesn't beg to be saved. Because they became the savior. Not for others, but for themselves. If you're watching this and you're still hoping someone will fix your pain, I'm here to tell you, they won't. But you will. You're the only one who can. And once you do, the pain won't own you anymore. It will fuel you. It will sharpen you. It will create someone they never expected. So stop crying for the rope. Use your hands. Use your grit. Use your pain. And rise, not when someone tells you to, but because you decided to live again. Step 3. Disappear without warning. Heal in silence. There comes a point where pain becomes too heavy for words, when explaining it feels like screaming into a void, when everything inside you wants to shout to be understood. But you realize something deeper. That healing doesn't happen by talking. It happens when you stop explaining, stop performing, stop updating everyone on your pain, and you simply disappear. Not forever, but for long enough to rebuild in peace, not to punish anyone, not to run from life, but to finally face yourself, without noise, without pressure, without distractions. We are addicted to being seen. We want people to check on us. We want people to ask, "Are you okay?" We want people to understand our silence without us having to say a word. But the brutal truth is, most people are too busy to notice. And the more you try to explain your storm to people who are standing in the sun, the more empty you'll feel. That's why disappearing is powerful. Because it's the moment you stop begging for someone to understand and start building the version of you who doesn't need to be understood. Let me give you a story you've never heard. Not from the battlefield, not from a boxing ring, but from an old man in a dusty workshop. There was a sculptor in Europe, known only by a few. His art was once admired by the royal family, collectors, the wealthy. He was respected, celebrated, and seen. But one year, everything collapsed. His greatest piece, a statue he spent 5 years carving, was accidentally destroyed during transport. The newspapers mocked him. His investors pulled back. He lost credibility overnight. And in the face of public shame, the man vanished. He didn't post a goodbye. He didn't write letters. He didn't explain his pain. He disappeared into a small cabin in the forest, where he lived alone for 7 years. People said he had quit. People said he had gone mad. People said he'd never return. But they were wrong. Because in that silence, that man woke up every day before sunrise, picked up his hammer and chisel, and began again. This time, not to impress kings, not to make headlines, but for one reason only, to rebuild his soul. He worked in silence. He studied new techniques. He spoke to no one. And every single night, he carved a little deeper, not just into the stone, but into himself. 7 years later, he returned to the city with nothing but a covered sculpture and tired eyes. He said nothing. He placed it in the gallery and walked away. And when they unveiled it, people wept, because what he had created wasn't just art. It was pain turned into beauty. It was silence turned into greatness. It was isolation turned into mastery. The world had forgotten him, but he had used the silence to remember who he truly was, and that made him unbreakable. You may not be a sculptor, but you're carving something too. Your future, your identity, your healing. And the mistake most people make is they try to heal while still being watched. They try to rebuild themselves while constantly updating people. They look for applause in every tiny improvement. But real change, real growth, it needs quiet, it needs privacy, it needs disconnection. Because healing is not performance, it's warfare. You're fighting the old version of you, not for attention, but for survival. And you can't win that battle while scrolling, sharing, and begging for likes. How to disappear to heal. Here's what it looks like. You stop talking about healing and actually do it. You stop showing your face everywhere and turn your energy inward. You say no to the parties, the calls, the distractions, because your soul has work to do. You create new routines. Wake up early, move your body, learn something hard, sit with your pain, write it out, don't post it. Grow in silence, change in silence, suffer in silence. Because when you come back, let your life speak so loudly you never have to. They'll tell you to stay visible. They'll say, don't disappear, people will forget you. But here's what they don't understand. You're not disappearing to be forgotten. You're disappearing to be reborn. The old you, the one who tolerated disrespect, who kept explaining their pain, who kept showing up for people who never showed up back. That version is dying now. And the new one. It's not born in the spotlight. It's born in the dark, when no one is watching. When the only voice you hear is your own. When you learn to sit with your discomfort long enough to grow from it. Silence isn't weakness, it's power. And when used correctly, it will become your weapon. So if you're feeling broken, stop trying to be seen. Stop trying to prove anything. Stop trying to post your progress to people who don't care. Instead, vanish. Without a goodbye. Without an explanation. Without a warning. Go and heal. Go and rebuild. Go and become so powerful in silence that when you return, they won't recognize you. Not because you're hiding, but because you've become someone they never saw coming. Step 4. Cut off what broke you. Ruthlessly. There is a hidden truth that no one wants to say out loud. A truth that will set you free, but first, it will tear you apart. You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. You cannot rise while still holding hands with what dragged you down. You cannot rebuild while staying connected to the thing or the person who destroyed your confidence. No matter how many motivational videos you watch, no matter how many books you read, if you keep letting poison back in, you will never breathe again. Sometimes the most powerful act of healing is not loving yourself more. It's cutting off what broke you. Completely, unapologetically, ruthlessly. Not slowly, not gently, not with second chances, ruthlessly. Because your peace is not a negotiation. Your healing is not a group discussion. It's a war for your soul. And there are things in your life right now that are killing you slowly. And it's time to burn the bridge, not just walk away from it. Let me take you into the real story of a girl most people will never hear about. She was born in a small town, the kind of place where silence is heavy, dreams are small, and pain is passed down like family recipes. Her home was not a home. It was a battlefield in disguise. Her mother blamed her for her own failures. Her father disappeared years ago. Her boyfriend mocked her dreams and told her she'd never make it without him. Her friends? They only loved her when she stayed broken. Because healed people make the insecure feel uncomfortable. And for years, she stayed. Because that's what broken people do. They normalize pain. They say, maybe it's not that bad. They say, at least someone is here. They say, if I leave, I'll be alone. And then came the day she looked in the mirror and realized she didn't recognize herself anymore. Her eyes were empty. Her voice was quiet. Her dreams were dying. Not because they weren't real, but because the people around her kept suffocating them with their doubt. So she made a decision. Not a soft one, not a safe one, a violent one. Not toward them, but for her own freedom. She packed her things, took the savings she had, left a letter that simply said, "I don't hate you, but I love myself too much to stay." She left the house, left the relationship, left the city, left the identity they had built around her. She cut it all off. No closure, no goodbye parties, no explanations. And she disappeared into a new city where no one knew her name. At first, it was terrifying. She had no money, no friends, no plan. But what she did have was oxygen. She could finally breathe. The noise was gone. The manipulation was gone. The guilt was gone. And in that quiet, she began to build. She got 2 jobs, took night classes, learned a new skill, started writing again, started laughing again, started trusting herself again. And 4 years later, she didn't just rebuild. She became someone no one recognized. Not even herself. Stronger, calmer, fiercer, alive. And when people from her past tried to reach out, she didn't reply with hate. She replied with silence. Because the woman she became no longer fit the story they remembered. She was not bitter. She was not angry. She was free. Because she did what most people never have the courage to do. She cut off what broke her and never looked back. If you are healing, but you're still texting the person who shattered you. If you are rebuilding, but still surrounded by people who only knew the broken version of you. If you're trying to rise, but still living in the same daily habits, same comfort zone, same self-destructive loops, you will stay stuck. You cannot water flowers in poisoned soil and expect them to grow. You cannot fix your heart while handing it to people who keep stabbing it. You cannot find peace while choosing war every morning in the form of toxic people, toxic thoughts, and toxic environments. You don't need more time. You need more courage. The courage to stop calling it loyalty when it's really self-betrayal. The courage to stop calling it love when it's really control. The courage to stop calling it hope when it's really a slow death. This doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you wish them harm. It means you finally understand. You can't heal in a cage. Here's how to do it. Block the number. Without needing to explain. Move out, even if it's scary. Walk away, even if it breaks your heart. Say no, even if your voice shakes. Say nothing, because your silence now speaks louder than any final goodbye. Cut it off like a knife, not like a slow peel, not a soft fade, but a clean break. Because your future is bleeding while you keep trying to save what already killed you. What people will say? They'll say you're rude. They'll say you changed. They'll say you're selfish. They'll say you forgot them. But they will never say how they failed you. They will never admit how they hurt you. They will never own what they did. And that's fine, because you're not cutting them off to hurt them. You're cutting them off to save yourself. And someday, when your life is peaceful, purposeful, powerful, you'll look back and say, that was the day everything changed. Not because they changed, but because I stopped waiting. And I chose myself. Stop romanticizing what broke you. Stop revisiting places where your soul was shattered. Stop forgiving people who aren't sorry. Stop negotiating with pain just because it's familiar. You don't need to hate them. You don't need revenge. You don't need closure. You need distance. You need silence. You need space to breathe again. and you won't find that while dragging the past into your future. So let this be the day you burn the bridge. Let this be the day you pack your soul and leave. Let this be the day you say, if it hurt me once, it will never get the chance again. Cut off what broke you, ruthlessly, without guilt, without apology, because freedom doesn't begin with forgiveness. It begins with separation. Step 5. Turn your pain into daily fuel. Pain. It's not just something you feel. It's not just something you survive. Pain is energy. And energy, if used correctly, becomes power. Every single person who has ever become something great didn't escape pain. They mastered it. They studied it. They used it. The difference between people who stay stuck in pain and people who rise through it is what they do with it. You can cry with it, or you can train with it. You can complain about it, or you can convert it into work, discipline, hunger, fire. That's what warriors do. They take every scar, every heartbreak, every rejection, and they put it into action every single day. Because when you use your pain correctly, it becomes the most powerful fuel in the world. Let me tell you the story of a man you've never heard of, but one whose pain fed millions. He was a nobody, raised in the slums of Manila. His mother worked in the back of a bakery. His father left. His siblings were sick. There were days they had nothing to eat except salt and rice. He never went to culinary school. He had no degree. But he watched his mother's hands when she cooked. Every movement filled with love, even when there was no food. One night, his mother passed away quietly in her sleep, from exhaustion. He was 16. She died with her apron on. And that night, he made a promise to her body. I will make the world taste your food. Even if they forget me, they will never forget your flavor. He worked in street stalls, cleaned dishes for 12 hours a day, saved every coin, bought ingredients at midnight markets, cooked in silence, trained himself. No one gave him a chance. He failed again and again. He was told, "You're not qualified. You're too poor. You'll never make it." But he kept going, because he wasn't cooking for praise. He was cooking for pain. He was feeding his grief. He was healing his loss. And after 9 years, he opened a restaurant with 1 table and no staff. Within 2 years, the line stretched down the street. Then came the awards, the Michelin star, the international chefs, the magazines. And when they asked him, "What inspired you?" he said, "Pain. I just turned it into flavor. You're in pain. Good. That means you have energy. Now use it. Use it to move your body. Use it to build your business. Use it to write your truth. Use it to wake up early. Use it to never stop. Not because you're happy, but because you're not going to let this pain win. Let your suffering have purpose. Let your hurt make you unstoppable. Every time you complain about your pain but do nothing with it, you let the enemy win. They left you? Good. Use it. They lied to you? Train harder. They broke you. Build something. You feel rejected? Work in silence until they beg for your time. Don't talk about it. Turn it into a fire so loud. The world can't ignore your flame. You have 2 options with pain. 1, drown in it. 2, rise with it. Cry if you must. But when the tears dry, pick up your pain and make it your weapon. Let it wake you up at 4 a.m. Let it push your limits. Let it remind you who you never want to be again. Because the people who transform this world are not the ones who avoid pain. They're the ones who turn it into fuel. Step 6. Fix your routine, not just your feelings. Here's the truth. No one wants to admit. Your life isn't broken because of how you feel. It's broken because of what you do every day. Pain is real. Sadness is real. But most people stay stuck not because of what they feel, but because of the routine they refuse to change. You cannot heal in chaos. You cannot find peace in disorder. You cannot build a new life while repeating the same destructive patterns every single day. Your future doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with discipline. And discipline begins with your routine. This story is not fiction. It's about a man who spent 23 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. His name is Brian Banks. At 17, he was accused, arrested, convicted. He lost everything: his scholarship, his football career, his freedom, his name. He spent years in prison, not just behind bars, but broken mentally. Everyone forgot him. He had every right to rot in that cell, to be angry, to be bitter. But one day, he stopped asking, "Why me?" And he asked, "What now?" He took a notebook and wrote 3 things on the front: mind, body, time. Every day he trained his body in a 6x8 cell. Push-ups, sit-ups, shadow drills. Every day he trained his mind. Read books, studied law, wrote goals. Every day he trained time. Woke up at the same hour. Used every minute like it mattered. And when he was released, he was not the same man. He was faster, stronger, smarter. He fought his way back into the NFL. He rebuilt his life from scratch. He was faster, stronger, smarter. He fought his way back into the NFL. He rebuilt his life from scratch. And when they asked him how he survived the years, he said, "I couldn't control my feelings, but I could control my routine, and my routine saved me." Your routine is killing your potential. Waking up late, scrolling the first hour of the day, eating food that drains your energy, hanging out with people who keep you small, saying, "I'm tired," when you've done nothing meaningful. Repeating this cycle every single day. And then you wonder why your life isn't changing. Stop fixing your feelings. Start fixing your hours. Wake up before the world. Move your body before your mind tells you not to. Eat like someone who respects their future. Create before you consume. Write before you scroll. Train before you talk. And commit to this, even when you don't feel like it. Because feelings are liars. But discipline is truth. Stop making this mistake. You say, "I'll do it when I feel better. I'll start when I'm motivated. I'll wait till Monday." And life just keeps passing. You don't need a new year. You don't need a new moon. You need a new pattern. And you start it right now, not when you're ready, but when you're tired of being stuck. Discipline is not punishment. It's self-respect. And your routine is your message to the world. A message that says, "I am done being who I used to be. I am done waiting. I am done explaining." You may not feel strong, but if you wake up and keep going anyway, you're already powerful, because no one changes their life in one day. They change it in one disciplined routine, repeated every single day. Step 7. Stop scrolling. Start rebuilding. Right now, your dreams are not dying because you're lazy, not because you're weak, but because you are distracted. We live in a time where people scroll through 500 faces a day and forget their own. You're not tired because you work too hard. You're tired because your mind is overloaded with everyone else's life. You wake up, and the first thing you do is pick up your phone. Before you even say good morning to yourself, you've set it to the internet. Before your feet touch the ground, Your mind is already in 50 other places, none of them your own. And you wonder why you feel empty, why you feel behind, why you feel broken. Because you're trying to build a meaningful life with a mind designed for distraction. But here's the truth. You will never rebuild your life while watching everyone else live theirs. Let me tell you a story the media never shared, because it doesn't make them money. There was a boy in Brazil. He grew up poor, not just financially, but mentally. No confidence, no role models, but he had a phone. And on that phone, he had everyone's life but his own. He followed celebrities, influencers, trainers, hustlers, travelers, every day. And the more he watched them win, the more he felt like a loser. He'd lay in bed, comparing his broken mirror to their million-dollar lives. He started to believe he was worthless, that it was too late, that he'd never catch up. He stopped trying. Why try when others are already so far ahead? Until one day, he was scrolling on the beach, and the screen froze. Just a spinning circle. Something snapped inside him. He stood up, walked into the water, and threw the phone into the ocean. People thought he was crazy, but he knew that phone was killing him, not physically, mentally. That night, he picked up a notebook. He wrote, Day 1, no scrolling, only building. Every day after that, he woke up early, trained his body, took free online courses, started working in a garage, learned how to fix engines, learned how to talk to people face to face, started selling used parts online. And slowly, he built a life, piece by piece, without filters, without likes, without comparison. 4 years later, he now owns that garage. He employs 6 other boys who were once lost like him. And when someone asked him, "What changed your life?" he smiled and said, "I stopped watching, and I started doing." Every time you scroll past a video you won't remember, you're stepping over your own potential. You think it's harmless, just a few minutes, but add them up. 5 minutes becomes 10. 10 becomes an hour. An hour becomes a life wasted watching strangers win while you rot in your own regret. You say you don't have time? Check your screen time. That's where your life went. How to fix this? Wake up and leave your phone off for the first 60 minutes. Create before you consume. Write your goals before you check anyone else's. Turn off notifications. Replace apps with habits. TikTok, journal. Instagram to gym. YouTube to books. Twitter, silence. Make your life so rich that scrolling feels like a waste of time. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not too far behind. You're just too distracted. Turn your phone into a tool, not a god. Reclaim your hours. Reclaim your focus. Reclaim your mind. And rebuild what you lost. In silence, with discipline, without the need for anyone to see. Because someday, they won't be scrolling past you. They'll be scrolling because of you. Step 8. Build a body they can't laugh at. Let's be honest. You've been judged, mocked, underestimated, maybe laughed at for your looks, your size, your weakness. They told you that you weren't good enough. You weren't strong enough. You didn't look like them. And every time they made a joke, you acted like it didn't hurt. But it did. It still does. And here's what no one tells you. You can't cry your way out of disrespect. You have to become someone they can't laugh at. You don't do it to prove them wrong. You do it so they never get the chance again. There was a boy in Eastern Europe. Too skinny, too shy, too weak. His classmates called him Twig, Toothpick, And worse, girls laughed when he walked by. He couldn't do a single push-up. He was bullied so badly that one day, he locked himself in the school bathroom and cried until his throat hurt. He promised himself 2 things that day. 1. They will never see me cry again. 2. They will never see me weak again. That night, he didn't go online. He didn't tell anyone. He searched. How to get strong at home. No gym, no coach, no equipment, just willpower. He started with wall push-ups, then knee push-ups, then regular push-ups, then pull-ups on pipes in the backyard. He trained in secret. He trained in pain. He trained with one goal, to make weakness fear him. He studied nutrition, started meal prepping, woke up before sunrise, trained twice a day, did not miss a day, even when he was sick. No noise, no posting, just fire. 2 years later, Itale, he returned to school for a reunion. No one recognized him. Broad shoulders, wide back, arms like stone. The same girls who laughed at him stared in silence. The same boys who bullied him couldn't even hold eye contact. And when someone asked, "Bro, what happened to you?" he said, "You did. Now look at what you built." Your body is not just about muscles. It's about revenge with silence. It's about showing the world you are undeniable. Not for others to clap, but for you to stand tall again. You don't need to be a bodybuilder. You don't need to have six-pack abs. But you do need to look in the mirror and say, "I earned this." Why your body matters. Because no one respects someone who looks like they don't respect themselves. And your body is the first message the world reads about you. So change that message. Train daily, even when you're tired. Eat clean, even when it's boring. Move more, sit less. Build discipline, not just biceps. Get strong enough that when you walk into a room, no one laughs. They listen. You don't need to hurt anyone. You don't need to yell. You don't need to prove. Just build. Build in silence. Train in pain. And when they see you again, let them choke on the version of you they said would never exist. Not because you hate them, but because you finally loved yourself enough to become unbreakable. Step 9. Forgive yourself, not them. You've been told your whole life. Forgive them. Move on. Let it go. But let me ask you something. What about you? What about the person who keeps blaming themselves for trusting too much, for staying too long, for believing lies, for loving the wrong people, for not leaving earlier? Nobody talks about that, because the hardest person to forgive is not the one who hurt you. It's yourself. You look in the mirror and don't just see pain. You see guilt, shame, regret. You say, "How could I let them treat me that way? Why did I stay when I knew better? Why didn't I speak up? Why didn't I protect myself?" And that's the pain that never leaves. Because it's not just about what they did to you. It's about what you did to you. By staying silent, by not walking away, by losing yourself. Let me tell you the story of a soldier most people never heard about. He served with honor, brave, respected. But one day in the battlefield, he made a decision. One that cost the life of his best friend. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't careless. It was just war. But he never forgave himself. After the war, he came home with medals, but dead eyes. He didn't smile anymore, didn't sleep, didn't connect, because in his mind, every breath he took was stolen from his friend who never came back. He stopped living. He refused therapy, refused to speak about it. Until one night, sitting in a dark room, holding a letter he had written but never sent, he read it out loud. It said, "I don't know if you can hear me, I don't know if you'd ever forgive me, but I need you to know. I've stopped blaming the war. I've stopped blaming fate. I've stopped blaming the enemy. And now, I have to stop blaming myself. He wept. And for the first time in years, he slept, not because the pain disappeared, but because he finally understood. Forgiveness isn't erasing the past. It's deciding to stop being its prisoner. What this means you've made mistakes. You've stayed too long in places that broke you. You gave love to people who never deserved it. You tolerated disrespect. You ignored the signs. But hear this now. That was survival. That was loyalty. That was love. That was trauma. That was confusion. That was not weakness. Stop calling yourself stupid for trying to save people. Stop punishing yourself for having a heart. Stop hating yourself for being kind in a cruel world. Forgive yourself, not because you were perfect, but because you were doing your best with the pain, pressure, and silence you had at that time. You don't need candles. You don't need rituals. You just need truth. Stand in front of a mirror, look yourself in the eyes and say, "You didn't know back then what you know now, but you made it, and I forgive you." Because once you forgive yourself, you don't need anyone else to. Stop holding yourself hostage for your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your trauma. You are not your regrets. You are the version of yourself who survived it all and is still here. And the person you are becoming deserves forgiveness. Not from them, from you. Step 10. Come back unrecognizable. This is the moment they never expected. The moment when the person they doubted, the person they hurt, the person they forgot, becomes unrecognizable. You don't just heal, you transform. Not slowly, not quietly, but completely. Because the version of you that's rising now is not a return, it's a rebirth. For example, the woman they left behind. She was a mother, wife, giver, the kind of woman who gave everything and kept nothing for herself. She lost her husband to betrayal, lost her home in the process, even lost her child for a while due to legal battles. She had nothing left. People whispered behind her back, "She'll never recover. She's too broken. She's too old to start over. She's finished." But what they didn't know was that inside her was a storm. She didn't fight back with words. She didn't post. She didn't beg. She disappeared, took her pain and turned it into plans, got 2 jobs, lived in a 1-room apartment with a broken bed and no TV, read books while eating soup, took online courses with free Wi-Fi from cafes, woke up before sunrise, walked everywhere because she couldn't afford a car. But day by day, she rebuilt. Not just her career, not just her body, but her spirit. She started a small business. It failed. She started again, and 3 years later, she stood on the stage of an international women's conference. Behind her was a screen that said, "Founder, CEO, Survivor." She wasn't just healed. She was unrecognizable. And when someone from her past walked up to her, with disbelief in their eyes, she smiled. Not out of ego, but because she knew. They thought they buried me, but they didn't know I was a seed. Let them doubt you. Let them walk away. Let them think you're gone forever. While they sleep, you work. While they scroll, you build. While they laugh, you sharpen. And when they see you again, let them choke on their silence. Not because you want revenge, but because you've risen so far beyond who you used to be, that even you don't recognize yourself anymore. How to come back unrecognizable? Change your environment. Master your body. Control your time. Learn what they never taught you. Move in silence. Work until your name means something. Stop showing progress. Start showing results. Don't post what you're becoming. Become it. This is your moment. You don't need to return as better. You need to return as new. So complete, so focused, so elevated, that even your past would have to say, I never saw this coming. Let them remember the day you broke and forget the day you rose. Because when you come back, you won't be the same. You'll be unrecognizable. If you're still watching this, it means you haven't given up. And that means something. You've been hurt, you've been tired, but you're still here. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to begin. Begin with pain. Begin with silence. Begin with fear. But begin. And one day, the world will ask, how did you do it? And you'll smile and say, because I never stopped believing in me. Now go, rebuild, and come back unrecognizable. And if this video touched your soul, subscribe, because your healing has just begun.